here on the set today of The Fifth Dimension. We're filming our UPK, and we have the young actor Collin Pelton with us, who plays Daniel Arson in the pilot episode, Close Encounters of a Different Kind. So I'm dying to hear all about the show. So tell us, what is Close Encounters of a Different Kind?
Close Encounters of a Different Kind is about a 19-year-old kid who's totally obsessed with aliens. He dreams about them, he thinks about them, he draws pictures about them. And one day he gets kind of a notification in his dream that they're coming to get him, and chaos ensues. I play the 19-year-old who just kind of wrapped up in a really, really wild story about his parents not believing him, and the people he goes to see don't really comfort him, and it's kind of like me by myself. And the story takes a really awesome twist at the end, and my dream kind of comes true. It's a story about love. It's a story about be careful what you wish for. It's really, really awesome, and I feel completely honored to be even associated with it, let alone being the kid who's the story's about, so I'm excited.
Wow, that sounds great. Tell us about who plays your parents.
My parents are played by John Laughlin. He's just an amazing actor. He comes from this huge line of experience, a veteran in the field. And Sheree Wilson plays my mom in this episode. I'm really excited to work with her. I was a big Texas Walker Ranger fan, and of course she's in that. Did I say that right? Texas Walker Ranger?
I know, I always say it wrong.
Yeah, Walker Texas Ranger.
Walker,
there you
Texas
go. Chuck
Ranger.
Norris. Yes, of course, everybody knows him. So I kind of was familiar with her work for a while, and I got to meet her recently, and her being involved in the show was just kind of epic for me. And the fact that she gets to play my mom is just great.
What does the Fifth Dimension mean to you?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. I actually just got recently asked this by a fan of mine. The Fifth Dimension to me is the sort of unconnected connection that we have with everyone, whether it's love, whether it's the internet, which seems to be connecting all kinds of borders across this world, maybe across other worlds, who knows. The Fifth Dimension is feeling, it's emotion, it's really about human connectivity, maybe even other species connectivity. I mean, we talk about aliens in this episode. The Fifth Dimension kind of connects the human race with Venusians in this case. So I would say it was all about connection, emotion, love, that kind of stuff.
What does it feel like to be part of the first episode of this magical journey into the Fifth Dimension?
Being involved in the first episode of the Fifth Dimension is probably the biggest honor I can have, especially at this stage of my career. Just getting started, I came from a lot of the student films and so forth, and Sam recognized me as a person that could bring a lot of truth to what he put down on paper, and I couldn't have been honored more by having this position, especially working with veterans like John Laughlin, like Taylor Negron, like Sheree Wilson, and Sam kind of working that circus all together and coming out with a really nice product. It's just an honor.
So what do you like most about the Fifth Dimension?
I like the fact that it's an anthology series. There have been a lot of anthology series in the past. One of the ones that I'm most familiar with is The Twilight Zone, though I haven't seen very many episodes because it's kind of based on the fear of the unknown, and I'm not really a fear person, I'm more of a love person. So when Sam Langford, the creator of the show, came to me and said, hey, I have the show that I'd like you to be involved in. It's like The Twilight Zone, it's like these other anthologies, but with each one we leave you with this feeling of, oh my God, that's so cool. Now that's an anthology series I can get behind. I don't want to support fear, I want to support love, because that's the industry I want. And Sam is bringing that to audiences all over the world, and that's what I believe in. That's what I believe that television needs today, is this kind of full feeling, emotional connection that you can have with a TV show and be excited about a new story, a new cast every day. And let's face it, we need something now.
Tell me about your very first memory of science fiction television.
Oh, Star Wars was my first real entry into the sci-fi world. I was probably about 5, 1984. And Return of the Jedi was like being released, but I wasn't watching it in theaters. I got to watch it on VHS and so forth. I had all the toys, Jabba the Hutt sets. I used to play with Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and so forth. They had great introductions to other species and so forth in the galaxy, and I liked that idea. I've always kind of been interested in celebrating the difference in other people, and similarities, of course, but it's our differences that make us stronger, I think.
What do you think the biggest innovation will be in the fifth dimension? Like, we have the internet, we've got to travel. What would be happening in the fifth dimension?
The biggest innovation in the fifth dimension, I believe, will be a type of travel. I don't want to call it time travel, I don't want to call it spatial travel, but imagine if a ship didn't actually move, but it moved the world or universe around them. So it would transport by merely moving everything else. And that concept hasn't really been introduced yet. I would love to see it in fifth dimension. Space travel is one of the coolest kind of like pioneer science fiction little endeavors, and it's been explored a couple of times, sometimes in the kind of thriller aspect. I would really like to see it explored in a more supporting environment. Okay. So there's no like bad thing that happens at the end. Okay.
Now, in the pilot, you literally are encountered by aliens in your backyard. You, Collin, what would you do if you found an alien in your backyard? Would you either be curious or afraid?
In the pilot episode, I am encountered with aliens in my backyard, and as a person, as Collin, not as Daniel, I think I would operate very similarly to the way Daniel operates. He looks at it as an advantage to see new worlds, to meet new people, and he's kind of sick of the stuff that he has to deal with in this world. So why not try another one? He's young, he's full of energy, he's full of life, and this already inspires things he's thought about his entire life. I would go, I think, if given the opportunity. I mean, you've seen the aliens. They're beautiful. Who wouldn't go with them?
Which brings me to the next question.
Okay.
I understand you are writing one of our scripts, Anchors Away Forever. Tell me a little bit about that.
I am planning to write the Anchors Away episode. It is about a ghost ship. Right now we're in development with this ship going to various places at various times and sort of picking up people and carrying them off to other locations, displacing them a little bit in a time and space kind of endeavor, which is, to me, pretty interesting because it's not necessarily science fiction, it's more mystery, and it's traveling through time, which is usually associated with a science fiction thing, but it has a sort of suspenseful feel to it, a mysticism about it, and I'm really excited in that kind of fantasy realm. I've always enjoyed the prospect of time travel. Like, what if you were to go back, even in Los Angeles, to early 1900s and buy a piece of land, and then when you return to your normal time, this land is worth millions and millions of dollars. I've always kind of played around with that, being sort of an entrepreneur in real estate or whatever it is. But in this way, you're not doing it with technology. You're doing it with a device. And in this case, it's a boat. And I happen to have a pretty interesting experience and family history with boats and mysticism. So I'm very excited to share.
Collin, thank you so much for coming. It's been great hearing about the pilot episode and your Twitter handle, Collin Pelton, and we've got Collin Pelton at Facebook. So all you young girls, you know where to find him, and follow along. And thanks again so much for coming today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nadine.